Hey, listen, if you are scoring in between 60 to 70% on your PMP mock exams, bad news, you might fail the actual exam. Good news, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do. Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is Mohammed, your PMP coach, helping you get PMP certified in 30 days or less. We've helped so many busy parents, so many 9 to 5 working professionals, and people who have failed the exam get certified on their next attempt. We currently have 900 plus students enrolled in our school community. If you're interested in getting certified, reach out to us, book that appointment. In this video, we are going to talk about something very important. A lot of you have been messaging us saying, Mohammed, I can't get above the 70% range. I'm always in the 60% in my exams. I can't get above that. What do I do? What do I do? I'm panicking. The reality is your grades should be above 80%. If you're above 80% on your mock exams, that's a guaranteed pass, guys. Guaranteed pass. If you're 75 is still the safe zone. But if you're below 70, that's when you have to start worrying. Are you going to pass the PMP? Are you not going to pass? That's when it's a little bit scary. And if you're below 60, it's a fail. On your mock exams, right? On the real exam, they don't release the grades. And I think they do that because they fiddle with the grades a little bit. But anyways, that's another story. The main topic today is, Mohammed, first of all, what is the root cause? What is the root cause of me getting lower grades? Secondly, what can we actually do about it to address the root cause, one of our core principles? All right, so what is the root cause for the majority of you, right? The majority of people struggle with one thing and one thing only. They are not able to read the question, the situation, and understand the actual problem statement from that situation. Now, I know I sound like a broken record. I've been saying this in probably most of my videos. Read the problem statement, which is one of our first of our 3 steps. Read the problem statement, guys. Read the problem statement, but no one is doing it. No one is properly doing it. And this could be because maybe on the actual exam or when you're practicing on the mock exams, you get tired. You get nervous. It's the last step before the actual exam. But listen, guys, there is no answer without the problem statement. When you have that situation, it doesn't mean that every single part of that situation is important. You need to be able to pick out the right pieces of information. All right, quick example. So you're managing a construction project. Now you ask yourself, right, after you finish every sentence, and this is the strategy of how to actually break down the problem statement. Okay. You ask yourself, okay, Mohammed, does it really matter that's a construction project? What if it's a healthcare project? What if it's a road building project? It doesn't really matter if it's a construction project or not. So let's forget about that information. During excavation, workers discover what appears to be protected wetlands and weren't identified in the environmental survey. And this is one pattern that you are going to notice, a strategy that you should note down in your notebooks. The problem statement is usually after the first sentence. Take that with a grain of salt, usually after the first sentence. So over here, something has not been identified. That is what you want to focus on. Environmental survey, I don't know what that is. We don't need to know. Something was not identified. You highlight that, right? Right now you're practicing, you highlight that. Work has stopped while the crew waits for direction. That's the consequence, that's the result. We're not working anymore. Your environment compliance officer is on medical leave for 2 weeks. Another problem, another situation. So we're adding to the main problem statement, delays, more delays. The delay is costing $8,000 per day. Is the number important? Probably not. If it was 9,000, 10,000, 5,000, it's still costing us. So you ask yourself that question. You put a little X on 8,000, not important. The contract includes a clause that environmental issues are the client's responsibility. Highlight. Important. Something was not identified, it was creating delays, but we know that it is the client's responsibility. Your project sponsor suggests you could probably continue working at that different section of the site while this gets sorted out. All right. So we got a mouthful of what's going on over here. And I purposely picked this question, but don't worry, we're going to solve it together. Okay, so we got that problem statement now. We know what's important in the actual problem statement. Now we look at the answers. Move the crew to a different section of the site to avoid delay costs while you investigate the wetland issues. If we move the crew, does that solve the core problem? Ask yourself that question. We have our problem statement framed. If we move the crew, does it solve the core problem? Ask yourself, pause this video and ask yourself that question. I don't think it does. Actually, we might need the crew on site. They have to get ready to work. Immediately halt all site work until you can confirm with a qualified environmental expert whether protected wetlands are present. We don't want to halt things. Principle number 2, we don't want to stop things. So we don't do that. See, document the discovery and notify the client that they need to resolve this per the contract terms. Important, right? We said, hey, listen, client, you are, the contract includes a clause that environmental issues are the client's responsibility. Okay? Environmental issues are the client's responsibility. So that's not a bad solution. Decontract or contact the local environmental regulatory agency to report the potential wetlands discovery. So now we're left with 2 solutions. We got C and we got D. What are we going to do first? What's the best thing to do first? If we contact the local environmental agency to report the potential wetlands discovery, does that solve the core problem as compared to C? C is still a great answer. But if you're left with 2 answers at the end, you want to choose the one that is the first step, the very first step. And what I would do is I would contact the local environmental agency, because that would give me more chances of pulling information and understanding what's going on. But the point of doing that problem is simple, guys. The point of doing that problem is that you'll see that most of the situation is not important. And that's exactly what you want to, that's exactly the approach that you want to take. So just to reiterate, so you guys have something to use when you're solving problems. Take your time. Take your time when it comes to solving problems. Read one sentence. Ask yourself, is this important? Read another sentence. Ask yourself if it's important. And if it is important, highlight what is important. If it's not, cross it out. And then reread the question again. I promise you, you will notice some patterns. And once you notice patterns, like for example, the problem statement is usually after the first sentence, you'll be able to not only beat the clock, you'll be able to get the right answer. Okay? All right, guys. So that's it. Quick video. Now, again, if you're interested in our program, we have a whole bunch of different packages depending on your needs. If you're looking for self-paced, if you're looking for group sessions, if you're looking for anything else, let us know and let us help you as well. Use this session that we have booked for you as a strategy session with Shubs. He passed the exam in under 72 hours. So you ask all your questions as well. Take care and have a fantastic rest of the day.